coming to you live from the French Door Studios at Ashley Lay Real Estate. Welcome to the Ashley Lay Real Estate Podcast, where we provide vision and value to various areas of real estate to you. In our first episode, we welcome Megan Hartman from Hartman Homes and Interiors. Megan and Ashley discuss the process of staging a home, what buyers are looking for, and the value of staging a home in the selling process. Here's the Ashley Lay Real Estate Podcast.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashley with Ashley Lay Real Estate and Keller Williams Realty Elite, and thank you for joining us for our first ever podcast. We're super excited. And today I've got Megan Hartman with us, and she has been a friend of ours and working with our team for about 5 years now. And she is with Hartman Homes and Interiors, and her amazing husband Nathan is a custom home builder. And we met her back when you guys were flipping houses. Megan, tell us a little bit about that.
That's right, yeah. We were flipping houses and I was staging our own properties. And Ashley just one day said, "You are really good at this. You should probably do this for more people." And it just kind of happened, and we just started putting ourselves out there and offering our services, and we've grown so much since then.
Well, we're huge fans of the show Fixer Upper, and all of a sudden we realized we had Davidson County's own Fixer Upper here. And she and Nathan are amazingly good at it.
Thank you.
And we noticed right away Megan had an eye for what do buyers want. So today we want to talk about that. We want to talk about what do buyers want when they are purchasing a home? What do they want the house to look like? And you've heard this word before, staging. And I think that there's kind of a mystique around that, and a lot of sellers get scared when they hear that word and they think, oh, they see dollar signs, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't, they're looking at it from a mindset of scarcity and, oh my goodness, I've got to pay $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to stage my home. But think of it this way, right? If we put that house on the market and they don't stage, they don't listen, they don't consider it, and it goes on the market, and 2 weeks later it hasn't sold, I'm going to ask them to do a price drop, right?
I always say, with that very first price drop, you will have lost more money than it would have cost you to stage the home. And oftentimes, if it's staged and the whole process goes as recommended, then you potentially could sell your home for more than list price. So you're really losing out on the potential of a lot more money in your pocket by not even considering the idea of staging and going that route.
Yes, it's we like to say in real estate, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
No.
And there are all these people all the buyers that are in the market at the moment your home hits, and they are just waiting they've seen all the inventory and they're waiting for that new listing to hit, and they run out to see it, right? And if you've not staged and you've said, oh, I'll wait and see if we sell in the first week or two, and then those people don't make an offer, they're not going to come back.
No, they will not come back.
No, even when we've staged it and they're we're excited and we think, oh, people are going to come back and see it and that sort of thing. They've already dismissed your listing virtually. Mm-hmm. Like some of the MLS feeds that you can see online, or the Zillows or Keller Williams sites, you can choose to hide listings you've already reviewed, and they'll never see it again.
Yeah.
Right?
You have one chance to get them to not only make an offer, but one chance to get them to schedule a showing. When your house gets listed, people are going to usually give you 3 to maybe 5 pictures that they will click through of your property. And if those pictures and just the immediate initial response to to the listing in general is not positive, they're not even going to book a showing. So if they don't book a showing, there's no way they'll ever bring an offer. And the people who are most interested and most aggressively searching for a home and are ready to buy are the first ones to look at it. Mm-hmm. So if they dismiss it because it's not been presented properly with staging and photography and aggressive listing agent, then they're gone. They don't get another chance. So then if you do wait to stage 2 to 3 weeks later, because we've had people say, well, we'll give it a few weeks, and if nothing happens, then we'll hire you. And then we'll just have them redo pictures, right? And they think, oh, it'll be fine. But it's not, because that initial drive and excitement for your property is gone because it's already been out there, it's not new, and that first impression is already gone.
Yeah. And let me give you an example of a home we've sold in the last year. So one home that we recently sold for $18,000. $18,000 over list price.
That's amazing.
Now, and that home was already, it was beautiful. So, we knew it would sell in multiple offers when it hit the market, and it was perfect. And it did. And it had, just almost double-digit offers right away. And it sold for it went under contract for $18,000 over the list price. Now, think about if we as your professional agent say, let's get this house ready, let's make it look really good,
right.
Let's use Megan. It's not going to be that big a financial investment for you to get a big financial return. Is $18,000 over asking? Let's think about that a minute.
People don't comprehend that. That's overwhelming how much
Yes.
money, how much more money you're making that's going in your pocket because you did everything right and it made a good first impression, and buyers, they wanted it so bad they literally fought over it by way of multiple offers. So
and that's
not unheard of. That happens often.
Staging. I'm teaching a class today actually on multiple offers, and staging helps create those multiple offers. And our marketing, by holding it live on the market, I call it seasoning on the market, and allowing everybody out there that's excited and this new listing is hit. We want everybody to see it. We want to do our due diligence for our sellers so they make the most money. So when you get the 1-2 punch of that, holding it withholding all offers for 5 days, allowing everybody in the market to see it, creating so much excitement because it looks amazing. Yeah. And then the open houses that weekend are flooded because we've spent tons of money promoting it, and they're just flooded with people. The offers are coming down like rain.
Right. They don't want it to get away. So they're willing to give whatever they can.
I use the analogy of a Coach pocketbook on a woman's arm, right? Or whatever your favorite pocketbook is, right? When you see me walking around looking great with my new pocketbook, and then you go out and you see some other woman wearing a similar pocketbook and another one, there's something called your Raz back here, and all of a sudden you're noticing that pocketbook everywhere. What do you want?
That pocketbook.
Yes, right? It's the same thing with selling a house. When there's that many people walking around inside and they're excited, the ladies want the house. Right? Yeah. So again, that's why staging also is such a big help too. Let's talk a little bit about the value of staging. What does it do for that buyer if they walk in my house? Let's talk about me a minute. I'm older than a lot of people. Maybe I'm listening. Let's talk about what my house looked like 5 years ago. Seriously, in all honesty, 5 years ago, I had just finished raising children.
Right.
And it had really tired floral furniture and really tired carpet and some outdated colors on the walls.
Yeah.
And my house was just tired.
Yeah.
I mean, just tired.
But a lot of people, that's their home. So they don't see that it's tired. That's just home to them. Mm-hmm. And they need a new, fresh set of eyes to come in and who can lovingly direct them and guide them into what buyers are going to want to see. Because it could be a house with great bones, really a great property that just may not show well. So just making sure the furniture is in the right placement and the wall art is things that are pleasing to the majority of people. I mean, we've done some properties that when I go through and I talk to the clients and we're kind of telling them you should, typically I have them carry a notebook around and I tell them leave this, and this, or get rid of this, and this. And I had one lady remove all of her animal heads off the walls and she just couldn't understand why. And I said, well, maybe not everyone feels like you do about it. I said there could be people who possibly are against hunting, and that alone would clutter their vision. They wouldn't be able to see living there because of what's on your walls. So just to clean it and give it a tasteful palette, you can never please everyone, but you can please the majority and at least make it pleasing to photograph and to show. But yeah, I always tell people we're trying to remove roadblocks. So there are a lot of people who they look at a property and the placement of the windows could hinder them from knowing how they would put their furniture in the living room or the bedroom because it just feels awkward, especially if it's a vacant house or if it's a house that you're living in but that you've never really known what to do with it either. So your furniture maybe is comfortable to you, but it just maybe doesn't show well. Coming in there and having just a professional put their hands on it and help it just feel like it flows better. I talk with my hands so much.
So good.
Help it flow better is really important. I mean, we've had just this one house where we staged just the living room. This was last summer. I've been on the market for a while, and the feedback from buyers was, I have no idea where I would put a couch in this house, because there were literally windows everywhere, and then a fireplace, and then doorways. And it did feel, I could imagine when it was empty, it felt very like, what would I do with this? How would I ever put furniture in there? And we came in and staged just that one room, and it sold. Like
that was that beautiful house in Garden Valley, wasn't
yes,
it?
Yes.
And it was a custom build.
Yeah.
And I walked
Beautiful
in and was
property.
amazed by those photos. I was amazed by your photos afterwards.
Yeah.
I was amazed by the windows. They were beautiful custom windows, but you're right.
But they were
when it was
roadblocks for
empty,
people.
it was hard for people to envision.
Yeah, and that's, I have staged several properties where there's just like difficult rooms where it's beautiful and it might even be really large, but just the placement of everything feels odd. And a lot of people, because we all have different gifts, struggle knowing what in the world would I do with this.
Right.
So if you come in there and you remove those questions from their mind and they can see, oh, well, it fits, or this is what I would do, or this looks great, or this is super livable, then those questions are gone. But something else that we discussed in our like initial meeting with the homeowners or investors or whoever's selling the property is other things. So like, is there a paint color on one wall or in one room that's going to turn people away? Because even though you and I would see, oh, it's just paint, no big deal, to some people, that's a deal breaker, because they either see a to-do list before they ever even make an offer and dollar signs, because a lot of people aren't going to paint themselves. And even if they do, then that's a weekend. They have to get somebody to watch the kids and to go buy the supplies. And so even helping remove stuff like that, a paint color, or other things like light bulbs that are burnt out. You wouldn't believe how many houses I go in and they've been for sale for a while and there's light bulbs out. They just don't notice it because they live there and it's not something at the top of their mind. But when we go in with professional eyes for getting your house sold, replace all the light bulbs. I do that for people. When I come in stage, I bring light bulbs with me. I do. And I'm just, because you want them, because if a buyer sees that your light bulbs are out, they're going to think, what else have they not maintained?
That's right.
And you
Deferred maintenance.
Right. You don't want them to think that you've put off fixing some drip or leak from your shower. Like, you want them to know, hey, this is my home and I've cared for it and taken care of it forever. Like, there's nothing here that's been brushed under the rug. And even something as small as a light bulb, even if they don't consciously realize it, they still think it. They just think, what else is here that I need to be looking for or that they're uncomfortable with?
Well, you know, humans are visual thinkers. It's one of the things I've noticed over the years when showing property is literally from the time the buyer drives up in front of the house, they're making a judgment.
Yeah.
And they're
coming down the
looking,
street,
just like you said, they're looking for those objections to mark it off their list, right?
Yep.
So you want, from the very first time they pull in your driveway, them to have that great impression from the outside and from the inside. So you want your maintenance taken care of outside. You want fresh paint. You want fresh mulch. You want pretty flowers. You want it to look great when they drive up. Brand new mat, new flag, etc. They go in the door. Oh, the details, like the front door. When that front door won't unlock, or it's an old lock.
Yes.
People they're already making a judgment about that property and how you've cared for it.
Yeah.
And then they walk in the door, and that's key, because we watch their eyes, and the moment a buyer walks in the door, they either emotionally start to place their furniture and fall in love with that house, or they're marking it off their list.
Yep. I tell people all the time, when I stage a property, I want that buyer to take 3 to 5 steps in that house and want to give an offer, like immediately. Then you want the rest of the main level to wow them, so it reinforces what they saw when they first walked in. And then after that main level, they're already so in love with it that you just want there to be no roadblocks upstairs. Like, it's true. And in the basement, like you win them over, and once you've attached them emotionally to that property, it's done.
That's it.
And if they love it that much and they bring an offer and it's a great offer and you go into contract, when it's time for due diligence and inspection reports, they're going to be a lot more lenient on what they request, because they love the house and they don't want it to get away. It's just true. We are emotional people, and when you tie your heart to that property,
Right.
You want
and
it.
let's talk about that value a minute. Back to the dollar signs, because that's what a lot of people want to know, right? How much money am I going to get for my house? And so we're talking to them about staging, and this is the value, and this is how you're going to get more money for your house. And they're hearing that, again, that scarcity mindset. They're going, cha-ching, cha-ching, that's your commission's costing me money. Staging's costing me money. I don't want to spend money. I want to make money when I sell my house. And they're not understanding that when you create that emotional attachment for everybody that walks in the house,
people will clamor over the property.
They will. They will. So it's and then they'll pay more for it.
Yeah.
So ultimately, that staging, I tell people all the time, staging pays for itself. Kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, and staging when you're selling a house. Pay for the house.
It really is. And this is not like new information for anybody who's a mega agent or who deals with a lot of selling and buying. Like it's just proven fact. If your home, I mean, I think about all of our flips that we have done over the years. When there is like excitement over that listing, think about some of our open houses in the past.
Goodness.
I mean, it's like a party.
Buried. It is.
Like people are so excited because they've seen the pictures and like they just want a piece of the action. And then if somebody says I'm bringing an offer, then everybody else is like, oh my word, well I better get my offer out there too. So then it just gets higher and higher. I mean, many times we have had offers far more than what we are asking for the property. And I always tell my husband, I'm like, sometimes, even if it's not the highest offer, because often there's choices of which one you want to choose, the one that like the agent says that they are like in love with the property, because then they're going to be like super flexible to work with and easy to deal with. And so yeah, it definitely pays for itself for sure.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what the process looks like. So we go out as their agent, as their listing agent, and we initially have a first meeting, and it's kind of our first look, and we go in with a market analysis, and we give them a range, and we say, okay, Megan, you're the seller. You live in Clemens West. Clemens West is a great neighborhood. It sells, in 30 days. On average, this is the average price point. Here's the range per square foot you can expect.
Yep.
You can expect $90 to $110 a square foot. Let's talk about where you would sell today, Megan. And then we had that discussion, and we look around and we make a judgment call based on what the house looks like right that second. If they wanted to sell it tomorrow, this is what you can expect to get. And then we explain to them, if you do X, Y, and Z, you can be here on the range, up here at the high end.
And it's usually dramatic difference.
It is a dramatic difference.
Yep.
Just $10 a square foot on a 2,000 square foot house is a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Yep.
So then we talk to them about staging and what that will do for their house. And so then they do call you and you go to visit. What happens from there, Megan?
So when I make that first phone call, we find out, do you live there? Do you have stuff there? Are you an investor? Is the property empty? It could be, whatever it may be. Sometimes if it's an empty property, they usually have a lockbox on it. And they're like, well, just go by and take a look at it and then give me a call with what you would recommend. So that's a little bit different scenario because there's nobody there. And I would just send them a quote, give them a phone call, and then we can talk through it there. But if it's someone who lives there and I call them, I schedule a time to go out, we go out. If they live there and the house has a lot of stuff in it, it's going to be a consultation, which is $150 for my initial consult, which is due at the time that I come. But I refund the whole thing if they do choose to use us for staging. So that's really, a lot of buyers really like to know that. Because when I first go out, even if you never hire me to come back and actually bring my stuff and totally do it, I'm still going to give you a lot of recommendations while I'm there. And I'm usually there for 1 to sometimes even 3 hours, going through, helping them with, you need to get rid of this and address this situation, and here's things that I noticed, and the furniture could be better here, or clear this out, like just a lot of tips and tricks for them. Usually about halfway through, people say, yeah, this is too much. We'll just send us a quote for what you would charge to come in and bring, and I have basically like a warehouse full of stuff at this point in my life that we use for staging. So then typically after our initial consult, I'll send them a quote that evening or the next evening, And then we can discuss, via text or phone call if they have any questions. And then if they give me the go-ahead, then usually within 7 to 10 days, I can get out there and me and our team come and we bring trailer loads of stuff. Whatever we need is tailored for that property. Bring what we need. If they have stuff there, we can incorporate that. Or sometimes I've had people rent like a pod, and they bring their stuff out of the pod because it was stuff that we just didn't need to use for staging. But just clearing it out and then bringing in the things that I bring in to set it all up and make it shine, really.
Right,
so,
and that's another great point, is that sometimes when they hear it from me, from their realtor, that they need to clear out the clutter in their house, and we point it out, they still don't really believe me. But I think Megan helps them catch the vision of what that's going to be. And sometimes just renting, that's another thing and another investment that they're hearing dollar signs for a pod or for a storage unit. Yeah. But that little bit of money for that pod or storage unit is going to make so much difference in their bottom line, right?
I always tell people, if a buyer comes into your property that you have for sale and they feel like you have outgrown it because your closets are full and your cupboards are full and your bathroom counters are full, they're going to think, well, if they've outgrown it, so will I. Why in the world would I buy this house? Right. They want to come into a house that they feel like they can grow into for years. So it's very important, even though your closets, most likely, unless it's like a master fancy closet, most likely your closets, your linen closets, your medicine cabinet, they're not going to be photographed, but people are going to open them and look at them when they look at your house. So you want those closets to feel not empty, but like clean, like where there's plenty of extra room to add those extra things that you have or that the buyer's going to have somewhere. So for instance, if it's summer, get all of your winter coats into a box. Like, I don't care where you put them, but not in your house, okay? So maybe the garage, maybe the attic. Put them in your car. Leave them in your car while you're having house showings, or if you have, family close by. So all of your extra clothes that are not in season, or if you're like me and you have clothes from skinny days and fat days and you have all these different clothes, box up the ones that don't currently fit. Take them, put them elsewhere. Clean your medicine cabinet out, like all of the closets, your towel closet. Clean it out. Make it look like there's plenty of extra room, because if they come in and they're full, it's immediately going to be one of those red flags we talked about, where they're going to be like, oh, there's not enough storage. It's not going to be big enough for me.
There's not enough storage in this house.
Yeah, even if it's huge, the house may be huge, but their mind's going to be confused by that, and it's going to be one of those roadblocks.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest challenges you've run into in staging before?
Biggest challenges? That's a good question. I think when people, so this is typically not for a vacant investment property, but when people live there and they are emotionally attached to all of their stuff. Yes. So, and that's kind of hard. I've had some people who, maybe it's an older couple and it's just been this way for so long, and there's emotional attachment to maybe, when their kids were younger or whatever. And those are hard situations because, like, I get it. And the current trends or whatever, which I'm not huge on trends, but there is certain things that buyers want to see depending on just what's going on in the world. And what current trends are and things. So that may not be what those homeowners even like. The color, the paint colors, or the countertop choices, or things that they may be willing to change. It's kind of, they have to play this tug of war of like, do I change it to what I don't like because I'm wanting to sell? Or do I just take my chances and not do what she's saying? So it's hard. And I think just navigating the relationship with the homeowner, because it's so true. I'm interviewing them when I go meet them for the first time, but they're interviewing me too, and we have to make that connection, and they have to know I really do care. Right. Like, I really do. If you're wanting to sell that home, then that is also my goal. So we then are a team. If you hire me, I will do everything in my power to make that happen for you. So just establishing that relationship where they're comfortable with me, and everybody, and they all have my phone number, call me, text me at any time, with any questions. I had a client text me whose house I'd staged back in the fall at Christmas, and she was like, where should I put my Christmas tree? And I actually love that. She valued my opinion. So a real quick text, and I told her where to put that tree, and she was like, okay, sounds good. So just knowing that, I don't even remember what our question was. I'm just like rambling
Your biggest
on.
challenge.
Oh, biggest challenge.
But you talked about people that are emotionally attached to their things, and we
That's
see
the biggest
that.
challenge.
It's interesting. Somebody loves red, right? And they paint their dining room red, and they're so proud of their red and their accents and everything, and they love it.
Yeah.
But a buyer needs a blank slate.
Right.
They need
to
a
see
gray
what they love.
or a neutral.
Right.
And sometimes I've heard people say, I hate gray.
Yeah.
I don't want gray. I don't want beige. I don't want I like color. I like life that's boring.
Right.
And you have to get them in that headspace of where the buyer is.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So
absolutely. For sure. I mean, you can tell people this. It's really, when you come out to do that initial consult, you have to decide, are you 100% on board that you want to sell it, or do you want to keep it looking the way that you like it to look? Because those two, that decision right there is going to determine how quickly it will sell, if it will sell, and for how much money it will sell. So.
And that's key. That is
and
key.
once you get that buyer to trust you, the seller to trust you, and just trust the process and do everything that's recommended, they're going to see results.
Right. Is there one item that you think always adds the perfect touch? What's the one thing you can do that is going to add tremendous value?
So, I feel like that's two different answers. If it's a vacant property, because we've staged a bunch of vacant properties lately, I feel like when you come in and it just looks empty, or it is empty, it feels kind of sad. Even if the finishes are beautiful, it's still going to feel a little sad and empty when you walk in. It's going to feel very sterile, kind of like a hospital or something.
There's a statistic about that, right?
I guess I didn't.
It's so a home with furniture in it sells 50% faster than an empty house.
That's impressive. Yeah. That is I believe it though, for sure. So a vacant property, if they're not willing to do full staging and they just want to do like super light staging, that I would say never skip over a bathroom or the kitchen. A well-staged kitchen and bathrooms does not require large furniture and makes a dramatic difference in pictures and showings, because people want a nice, user-friendly space for all of those, your kitchen and your bathrooms.
Back to that emotional attachment.
Yeah. If
Visual thinking.
if there's a fireplace with a mantle and a hearth, that's really simple to do. It's easy to do yourself if that's something that you're willing to go, purchase things for that. But yeah, we offer light staging for those kind of things. But typically, I try to encourage people to do a little bit more than that. Every single house is going to have some space that feels confusing for a buyer, for how am I going to put furniture in here. We staged a really big property not too long ago, but the only areas that I thought needed help was the living room, the eat-in kitchen areas, like the breakfast nook, the kitchen, and the bathrooms. And the house was really big, so there was like other spaces, but they didn't feel confusing to me. I felt like people could come in and see them. So that's what I recommended to these sellers, was let's do these key rooms to keep your price down. And I think that's all it's going to need. And that house had previously been for sale for 6 months with somebody else.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that we've had so many together.
Yes. We've had a bunch together.
I don't even know which one she's talking about every time.
This one had been for sale for 6 months with a different agent, and then got Ashley's team involved. Ashley recommended me. We came in. They staged the rooms we recommended, which wasn't the whole house. I'm not going to try to influence someone to do the whole house if they don't need it. That's just not who I am. And it's sold. It's under contract. It's about to sell now. So like that, and we are happy, but the sellers are happy because they thought for some reason their house was unsellable, and they were discouraged and just like they didn't know why. But you come in and you remove the confusion for buyers, and then it's easy for them to fall in love with it. So,
Let's give them a cool tip today, just a freebie for watching.
Okay.
What would you say is the best paint color out there right now for them to use to neutralize the house?
Okay. So a couple come to my mind. Sherwin-Williams Agreeable Gray is a, I mean, you really can't lose with that one. It's, let me describe that for you. It can feel a little gray beige. Okay, it can feel.
It's a realtor term. It's also a staging term.
It's a design term.
It's a design term.
It can feel a little gray. It can feel a little beige, depending on the light. But it's very neutral. So your space is gonna feel clean and crisp. That's a no fail. I really like Sherwin-Williams Useful Gray. Mm-hmm. It's a little warmer, just a touch darker. It's a little more on the beige family. But it's a beautiful color too. And we talked about color earlier. I am not scared of color. You see things that I like design, like properties and things. I actually like to use color, but when you're coming in and you're a homeowner and you're just trying to do something that's like a clean palette for people to visualize themselves living there, those are two really good. So Agreeable Gray or Useful Gray.
Awesome. You got some cool things there now. Well, let's talk about some of our success stories together staging, right? There's been so many. It's hard to choose. One of them that comes to mind is that house that had been on the market up on the north side of town. It was about, I think it was 6,000 square feet.
With the view of Pilot Mountain.
Yes,
that one.
yes. And they added on, so it made it kind of awkward.
Yes. I would maybe even say, and that was a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was over a year ago for sure. And I think up until that point, that might have been my most challenging property. The homeowners were fantastic. So that's really good because they got it. They understood the importance. They were just happy that I was willing to help them. But we staged the house. Yes, it was 6,000 square feet. We staged the main level, which was the majority of the house. The upstairs, I think, just had some bedrooms, if I remember correctly. But we went in and really helped. There was a lot of just small things that stood out to me that they could do that was probably a major turnoff to buyers. So they had a lot of like outlet covers missing, or just like bare light bulbs without like a fixture, or just stuff like that.
Or this is my favorite. When you are showing a property, you walk in a bathroom, you flip the switch, and you got a yellow warm light and a white daylight light and another light out, and they're all mismatches, right?
It's such a small thing but makes a huge difference. So we came in and I said, let's stage the main level for sure. And it was so big, so it was not cheap, but they were just like so thankful. Mm-hmm. So we came in and staged it, and that house had a lot of challenges. The location was not fantastic.
Yeah. Had some challenges to drive past to get to it.
Big challenges. Yeah. The house itself, although once you got inside, was really big and open. It was unusual because it was a house that they added almost an entire house onto. So it had kind of like two front doors, and it did have two kitchens, multiple dining rooms, two living rooms. Like it would have been perfect for like in-laws, and like it had potential for multi-family. Yeah, something. But most of your just regular families probably struggled seeing like, what am I going to do with this?
Right.
So we came in and there was this one space in that house that was so big that you really didn't know what to do with it. And we visually used rugs and furniture to create their own spaces. So we had like a foyer and a dining room and a little hearth sitting room off of the dining room and the living room. So then it felt like, oh, this is not just some big conference room. Like we can tell what to do with it. And like we had said before, took those roadblocks away, and that house sold.
It did. It sold. I was so excited.
It sold pretty quickly
so excited.
too.
Yeah, it was not that long after you staged it.
It was so exciting.
Yeah, and we had that one recently in the last year or so. I think down at High Rock Lake. That was a really large house, a nice house on a nice lake lot with a pool.
Yep.
And people just couldn't see past the very specific design of the owner.
Yes. That house felt, on my initial consult, felt really dark and just I don't want to say oppressive, but darkness kind of feels that way a little bit.
And you don't want to feel that way at the lake.
Right.
No.
All of the decor felt dark, and the paint colors felt dark, and there wasn't a lot of
The moldings
light.
were dark.
Yeah, it was just, and probably when it was built, that was kind of normal.
Right.
But when I come in, I was like, we have got to lighten this place up. So we had her paint a few rooms, change a few light fixtures. She would call me from Lowe's when she was shopping for light fixtures and kind of laugh with me. And she was like, you're a slave driver. I'm like, look, we're going to sell this house, though. It'd been for sale for 2 years. So she was on board. Like, she knew she needed to do something. And we came in and staged, and she had a bunch of furniture there. We had her take a lot of it out. But we did use what she had because that kind of keeps costs down. And then just brought in a lot of our own rugs, decor, that kind of stuff, bedding, wall art.
And she was a tough seller.
She was.
Some sellers don't get it initially, and they don't see the value.
Yeah.
But I think she was definitely on board after it was all said and done, right?
We built a relationship. My first night there, I think I was there maybe 2.5, 3 hours. And before I left, she gave me a hug. And I was like, well, I've done a good job of creating a relationship, like rapport with her. Like, she trusts me, which is the goal, right? I'm a good guy. I want what you want. I want to help you. And she was a little leery, I think, about because of the cost, but it wasn't that dramatic. Right. And she said, let's do it. And it sold, so it was worth it. I mean, it had been for sale for 2 years.
Yes,
so.
Multiple realtors, multiple listings.
Yeah. She was weary. She was just like, what?
She was tired.
Why? Yeah. That happens with a lot. We've had a bunch of houses recently, like last fall, that had been for sale for extended amounts of time, 4 months, 6 months. And they come to you and to me, and we sell
that's
them
one
for
of
them.
the things that we're really good at is taking an expired listing, people that have had their homes listed over and over, and we go in. And just from that first consult, they are so shocked when you start making recommendations because no one's ever told them that before. Yeah. And then when they, you come in and work your magic, and then we have professional photography.
Big difference. Makes a huge difference. Yes.
And then we have professional marketing.
Yep.
And paid promotional advertising all over different social media sources.
Yep.
Which drives all that traffic, which at the end of the day gets them potentially multiple offers and definitely more money in their pocket, right?
Yeah. It's a multidisciplinary approach, really.
Right.
I mean, it takes the whole team. It's a team of people who work well together and are proven successful at what they do. Right. And you can come in and you can help even the most challenging house.
That's right.
We could sell it.
Well, thank you so much. I have so enjoyed talking to you, and I hope that we've brought a lot of value to our listeners today. Yeah. And looking forward to staging the next house with you, Megan.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Ashley Lay Real Estate Podcast. This was episode 1. Be sure to look for future episodes monthly. We hope you have a great week, and as always, if you're looking to buy or sell, or know someone who is looking to buy or sell real estate, please give us a call and let us know for a world-class service experience.